Are you seeking a better way to accelerate your sales, to scale your business, to live a life with no limits? Accelerate Sales Podcast features global experts who have cracked the code to recurring revenues with proven sales systems and get you on the fast track to scaling. Now let's accelerate your sales with today's episode.
Hello, I'm Paul Higgins and welcome to the Accelerate Sales Solo Podcast, episode number 452. Today's topic is introducing the new podcast title called the Cloud Consultants Podcast. I'm very excited. I'm also excited if it's your first time. Welcome. I share my learnings from coaching and mentoring cloud consultants to accelerate your sales. It's typically about 10 minutes, a bit shorter this time. Check out our past shows. Just search Accelerate Sales and try the interview shows as well. If you love what you hear, please subscribe. If you're a regular, thanks for your support. Please email me at paul@paulhigginsmentoring.com to let me know that you listen. There's no other way of me knowing that unless you actually let me know. And I always love when people say, yes, I've been listening to your show, it's really changed, what I've looked or the way that I look at things, etc. It's great. And before we start, I'd like to also talk about the world's only revenue-focused community for cloud consultants. It's peers collaborating to help you to run a better business. Less technical, a lot more biz. Just check it out at thecloudconsultantscollective.com to join for free today. So today, I want to let you know about an exciting brand change for this podcast. In episode 461, so it'll be coming out on the 7th of April 2023, we're going to be rebranding the podcast from the Accelerate Sales Podcast to Cloud Consultants Show. So, why the change, you might be asking? Well, in 2022, I really niched down to cloud consultants. And we've built a wonderful collective called the Cloud Consultants Collective that I just spoke of, and it's got over 200 cloud consultants in it now. And I've really built my expertise in this area, I've built a great network in this area, and to be honest, I just love the industry. Right, I was in it in my own business for 5 years now, being a mentor to the industry. I love it, and I love the people, and to be honest, I really want to just double down on it, right? And I think there's a real need to do it because there's no one else really helping you as a cloud consultant out there, and I want to fill those shoes. And yes, sales is really important, and lack of sales was sort of the key burning platform for many cloud consultants. But there's a lot more to scaling a cloud consulting business than just sales. So, some of the key topics that I talk about in the current podcast, even though it's called Accelerate Sales, is the right business model, marketing, and team, just to mention a few. And I felt the Accelerate Sales was not representing the topics discussed by clients. And to be honest, it was actually just boxing people in because, come on, tell me how you accelerate your sales when, some of these great guests that have done, built business of 260 people or might have had a successful exit. There's a lot more to the story than that. And I've got to admit, this is not my first radio or rodeo, depends where you are in the world. I have made changes before. So I launched the podcast back in the 4th of May 2017. And it was called the Corporate Escapees Podcast. And it was for people who left corporate or who had left corporate to run their own business, right? And it was just me telling my stories and sharing my practical knowledge from me doing the same thing in 2011. You can go back and listen to some of the episodes to get the detail. But in short, I left corporate because I had a chronic disease. I knew I was going to have a kidney failure and transplant, so I wanted to create my own business for that. So there was a lot of great knowledge and what's back in those early shows still applies today. But in 2021, actually July 2021, I actually changed the name to Accelerate Sales, and that was episode 318. And it was the major challenge for consultants and coaches at the time, right? And I really wanted to specialize in solving that. And I was very hands-on in actually providing sales mentorship, sales training. So I wanted to do that. And it has changed, and now I've niched down to cloud consultants, but I do a lot more for cloud consultants than just sales, right? So I wanted to change it. But before I continue in a little bit more detail, I'd like to talk to you about the Scaling Blueprint for Cloud Consultants. It's an ebook from my experience scaling and selling, and also mentoring and coaching others to do the same. You compare your business model and your sales engine and your team to what we believe is best practice. So it's completely free. It's a great read. Go to paulhigginsmentoring.com/blueprint. So what will stay the same in the podcast? Well, the first thing is interviewing cloud consultants who have already scaled, right? I think there's nothing better than hearing it from your peers, right? So that's why I get people on that have already done it, that are, seen as leaders in the industry, and for you might be up and coming. You can learn a lot from them. The other thing is I'll interview experts who only help cloud consultants. I used to get so frustrated when I ran my own cloud consulting business, and I'd go to a marketing agency, I'd go to a sales outreach company or whatever, and I'd say, have you worked with someone like me? That yeah, we've worked with consultants. I'm like, no, have you worked with someone like me that just does cloud consulting or support a SaaS platform, etc.? And ultimately they didn't do it, right? So I want to bring in people that just do that, because there's roughly 59,000 of us in the world at the moment. So there's a big enough market. So I want to bring in experts in for that. What will also stay the same is I'll still do solo shows, right? So that won't change. And once again, I'll just broaden the topic so it's not all based around sales. I used to feel a little constricted or refined that, I had to be about sales. Not anymore. We'll still have some great sponsors. So there's the Cloud Consultants Collective, which is a sponsor. There's SendSpark, which is a sponsor. And we've also got some other great sponsors coming on. And also, the content will remain completely free, right? So it's not behind any paid wall. I do this because I really want to give back to you as a cloud consultant. So what's going to be different? Well, we're going to go to broader topics, as I said, which will be great. And also what we're going to do is come up with some series, right? So we're going to have a series on hiring talent as an example. So that'll be coming up soon to sort of help you, not just with the sales component, but as I said, the broader scaling of the business. And it's also going to be easier to find the content for new people that come to the show, and also it'll improve the SEO as well. And effectively that'll mean that we can get bigger guests on, we can also get sponsors on, and ultimately we can create better content for you. So when's all this taking place? It's going to take place on the 7th of April 2023, and it's going to be episode 461. So I want to thank all the guests that have come on and made the show what it is, even through its different iterations. I want to certainly thank all the experts for sharing their time, and they might get benefit from you working with them, but it's not always the case, so you can get some really great free expertise. And finally, I want to thank you. Right, if you've been a long-term listener, thank you through the iterations and the changes. And if you're fresh and you've got some great ideas, I want to thank you for coming and finding me. And I also want to thank you for listening. So, key actions from today. We're going to keep it pretty easy. One is go and tell your friends, in particular your cloud consultants, your friends, your peers, about this podcast, right? It only grows by the fact of more people referring it, right? So I don't do paid ads. I don't do a lot of other promotion. It's all through you telling others. So please go and do it. The second is email me at paul@paulhigginsmentoring.com with topics you'd like me to cover, right, on the show. And maybe you might also have a great story that you want to come and tell on the show, which would be excellent. And last is going back and listen to some of the past shows, right? Because there is some great content in it'll be up to 461, but up until now it's 452. So you can get all the show notes and the links at paulhigginsmentoring.com/podcast, episode 452, or on the podcast app that you're listening to now. Please follow me on LinkedIn to get great content specifically for cloud consultants. Join our newsletter as well. And the newsletter is fantastic. It's got the podcast interviews, it's got the solos, it's got what's happening in the community. It's always got a value add, so a key resource that I know is specific for cloud consultants. It's also got a little bit from me as well. So it's really great. It only comes out once a week, and you can get that at paulhigginsmentoring.com/newsletter. The link will be in the show notes. And if you're a cloud consultant and you really want to collaborate and get questions answered quicker than by Google or YouTube or any other way that we found, please come and join for free. It's in Slack, thecloudconsultantscollective.com. Please take action to scale quickly with less effort to enjoy your life.
I'm fired up after today's episode. What about you? But hey, before you go, learning is just one piece of the puzzle. Now it's time to put today's strategy into action. Head over now to today's show page at paulhigginsmentoring.com/podcast and share how you'll put it into action. Be sure to head over to your favorite podcast platform and subscribe, rate, and review the show. Tell me what your favorite episode is. And don't wait 1 minute more to gain access to your pulse check at paulhigginsmentoring.com. This could be the difference between struggling to get more leads and making this next quarter your best one yet.